Curtbone, man.
Curtbone.
Man, goddamn, man, I got you in the building, man.
Yeah,
Been
man.
trying to chase you down, man. You stay on airplanes and
All that.
all over the place, man. You know
Man.
you got the new toy you driving. I know that's somewhere outside one of them new toys, man.
Nah, same old toy, man.
Same old toy?
Boy, the pandemic got me shook. I don't want to spend no money right now. I don't know
Yeah,
where this
yeah.
economy going.
Hey, look, you know you can't take it with you, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, first of all, man, for people who don't know you, man, tell us where you from, man. Give us a little bit about your background.
Oh, man. I'm from New York, man, but ALPO ain't my people's. I just want to say that to all the DC people watching. Like, look, I got nothing to do with that guy. Yeah, but I'm from Queens, New York, man. And, I just appreciate the love I get down here, you know. Yeah, I've been coming down to this area since the 80s, since like 86. My son was born here in 1990 in Georgetown Hospital, and now I'm a business owner in Southeast in Ward 8. Yeah, so DC has always been good to me.
Okay.
For sure.
And coming up, man, because I see you on a lot of platforms, you know what I'm saying? I talk to you a lot off the cameras, man. You seem very, very educated, you know what I'm saying? Very few men that's able to make that strong reference in the street and, you know, super education, man. You in the private school, public school? What's your education background look like?
I went to Catholic school as a kid. My parents are West Indian, and if you know anything about West Indian parents, they emphasize education. You know what I mean? That's a big deal to them. You know, so rather than making sure that we had fly clothes to go to school every day, we wore a uniform and went to Catholic school.
Right,
and then from there, I attended one of New York City public schools, Crown Jewels, Brooklyn Technical High School. You got to take a test to get in that school. And it's in Fort Greene. As a matter of fact, that video doing the butt with EU was filmed in my school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And big school, man. Had 8 floors. I learned everything.
Sugar Bear. Let me cut you off. Shout out to Sugar Bear.
Yeah.
Doing the butt. #1 song in the country.
Yes, sir.
Right,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, you know, in there I learned everything, man. Chemistry, physics, calculus, trigonometry. I got a Regents diploma because, you know, they got a regular diploma, but there's the Regents diploma where you get approved by the Regents board. So, academically, I was always pretty astute. But the thing is, man, you know, when it comes to education and kids, my mom and them, they got me into school, but they never really gave me a plan for after school.
Right.
See, so when I graduated from high school, then I kind of went off course a little bit.
Give me your, since you had unique experience, you went to public school, you went to private school, give me your unique experience as far as the public school guy and the Catholic school guy, man. You have a lot of opinions about that. What's the difference?
Well, honestly speaking, in Catholic school, we were insulated from a lot of stuff that was going on in the public school, like, because you know most of the people in the neighborhood went to the public school, and ironically, when I graduated from high school, most of my associates in my circle, they didn't just go to public school. They was in special ed.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, but in Catholic school, like my good friends in Catholic school was Rev Run and DMC.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I got class.
So you went to school with Rev Run and all them guys.
Rev Run used to come by my house every morning and pick me up. He used to steal his brother Russell weed. Russell used to sell weed. Rev would come to my house. I roll it up and we smoke it all the way to Catholic school. You know what I mean?
He wasn't Rev then. No, he was blazing. He was blazing. Rev was blazing. All right, okay. All right.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, people don't even really know that he was a DJ first. That's why they call him DJ Run.
Oh.
That's why he said DJ Run I can scratch, and he said DMC I could draw, because DMC could draw. He used to draw comic books, and I used to write the dialogue to it. You know what I mean? When we were like in 5th grade back then doing that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, the difference is, man, the public school kids, I ain't gonna lie, they were just rougher. Generally speaking, they were rougher. Not necessarily that they could beat you up, but they'll definitely start that fight with you. You're gonna have to show them something. You know what I mean? So that was the difference. And you know, and honestly, what I learned in time was that, you know, intellect plays a key factor in your success no matter what arena you're in. Because, you know, the strong rule the weak, but the wise rule the strong, right? Blessed are we, both strong and wise, for we maintain an abundance of options. You see, so when you a tough dude and you a thinker, you got all kinds of options. You know what I mean? A lot of dudes in the public school system, they were tough, but where they could out tough you, you could outthink them. And you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So I would say I was blessed in that capacity.
You from Queens, and when you say that, jump right over, man. It's a lot of people from Queens in the hip hop genre, the music genre, the sports genre, man. You know any of them personally? You would grow any more?
Look,
street guys, man. So you know any of them guys? Meeting them guys?
In the 80s, it's not like today, because in the 80s the rappers were entertainers. They weren't really street dudes. They mimicked the streets. And nowadays, you got actual dudes who be trapping and videotaping it and posting it online. Like back then. You got to think, right? In New York City, for example, Brooklyn has always been like the wildest part of New York because of the sheer number of people and Brooklyn at one time was like the 4th largest city by itself in the country.
And it's funny because I remember that on Welcome Back College. They used to come on, that little thing, 4th largest joint. Well, go ahead, though.
That's how many people the West Indian Day Parade in Brooklyn got 3 million, like 2 to 3 million people used to come there every year. So when people talk about New York and they try to make it like it's just one-dimensional thing, there's so many different New Yorks, man. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it was. I don't know, man. I think in Queens in particular we had a lot of talent. I think Queens, for real, took hip hop globally. It may have started in the Bronx, but when you look at the old rap stuff, them dudes didn't want to be rappers. They wanted to be Parliament. They wanted to be, the Village People or whatever. You look at Bambaataa and them, they got Indian headdresses and all that. You know what I mean? It was Queens that brought that street vibe that everybody rocking now. You know what I mean? The jewels, the sneakers. You know what I mean? Because what it did was the dudes from Queens, they emulated the street guys in Queens. You know what I mean? The no laces in the sneakers came from dudes who went to Rikers Island or whatever. They take your laces from you and all that. You understand? And that's where all that, it was closely identifiable with prison culture, to be honest with you. There's always been a tight parallel between what people call streets and what people call, jail culture, because a lot of times the dudes who from the jails, they got a hell of an impact on the street. So they dictate the trends in the streets. You know what I mean? Like,
It's always been. That's across the country.
That's universal.
That's universal.
That's universal. Yeah.
And like you said, I don't know the New York culture you lived in, but I was always a Chaos One fan. I remember him saying, "The bridge is over." You know what I'm saying? The bridge is over, man. Give me some clarity on that now, man.
This is why we called. Listen, the book Queens Reign Supreme was a direct response to KRS, because you know what? I'm an older cat, man, but I still fly that flag. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I seen the punk motherfucker talking about the bridge is over, right? Look,
that's my man, Chaos One, man. That's my man.
So I came out with the book. When we had to name the book, I said, fuck Knowledge Reign Supreme, because that's what KRS stand for. It's Queens Reign Supreme. Look, man, I was in the disco fever back like in the early 80s, and that was like the top like hip hop spot in the Bronx, like in 80, 83, 84. I ain't never see KRS in there. They was shouting out all the Queens dudes in the Bronx, in his hometown. He might have been sleeping in cars around that time, because he did say he was homeless, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't getting no money, but that's the power of the microphone. You get that microphone and you get to talking, you could just be all you can be. And yo, man, and people, they got no way of checking it. But what I was saying earlier about Brooklyn and Queens is that in the 80s, the biggest rap group out of Brooklyn was the Fat Boys. Not Biggie, not Jay-Z. That shit came later. The Fat Boys was three fat, wannabe, Three Stooges type of dudes. Comical, all you can eat.
They sold some records too.
They sold a lot of records. But you know what? That's the weird thing. When the streets were the roughest, the artists were the tamest. And then when the streets got tame, the artists got rough.
But that's because everybody was in their lane back then.
Yeah, everybody
you
was
had
in
to
their
get your
lane.
You couldn't zigzag and put your blinkers on like that.
Nobody
like
liked to, everybody talking about the streets this, the streets that. Man, the street dudes was the street dudes, and the entertainers was the entertainers, right? And that I don't want nobody who's rapping in 2021 running up on me talking about, man, what you talking about? Look, I ain't talking about y'all. I'm talking about my era. Shit done changed since then, you know what I mean? But look, man, and the way this thing started is that the street guys, they really influenced the artists, and that's why the book was called Queens Reign Supreme, you know, Fat Cat, 50 Cent, and the Rise of the Hip Hop Hustler, because it documented how the street dudes in Queens influenced rap and how rap went on and influenced the world. You know, even the endorsement deals. The first rap tour was Fresh Fest, and it was sponsored by Swatch Watch, and then LL had the Troop deal, and running them got the Adidas and the endorsement deals. We brought all that to the table.
Damn.
We showed everybody how to get money. Let me tell you this, man. Before Wu-Tang, there was Marley Marl and the Juice Crew. Before Puff Daddy and Bad Boy, there was Russell Simmons and Def Jam. We laid the blueprint for commercial success in rap, period. And the thing that I don't be liking is when dudes from down south be talking about, you know, the South run rap. Man,
even now you don't agree with that?
It's not even that I don't agree with it or whatever. My thing is like, they talk so bad. They got New York rappers who really ain't street dudes, always trying to defer and include everybody instead of saying the shit that I'm saying right now. How you gonna disrespect somebody or a town, and the way you make your money comes from there? You are in fact trying to be like those people. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we all know reggae come from Jamaica, right? Could you imagine an American reggae band saying "fuck Jamaica"? You know what I mean? We run reggae. Or like go-go come from DC. Could you imagine a go-go band from, let's say, Ohio, no matter how much they crank, start disrespecting Rare Essence and Chuck Brown? Only in rap we allow people to disrespect the founders on any level. You know what I mean? And that, to me, I call that just typical nigga shit, man. Always in a competition with people who ain't in competition with them. You know what I mean? And also, I believe that the New York artists, they allowed a lot of that to go on because they didn't really want no smoke. Because, you know, think about this, man. In New York, the typical rapper got his deal back in the 80s when it all started, because it really began with kids making music for kids. They got their deal when they was 16, like LL. 17, 18 years old. They made one album a year for like 5 years, and they were all pretty much done by 22, 23. Not because they couldn't rap anymore, but because their audience outgrew that kind of music. So it was time for somebody else. But what happened when the music started shifting to out of state, like LA and wherever else, the rappers were older. They were older, they were more experienced. The subject matter was more explicit, more graphic as a result. And their business acumen was better. Like when people be talking about Master P and this one and that one and the great moves they made, yes, they made great moves, but look at their age though. They weren't 16 making those moves. They weren't 17 making those moves. There's all these false equivalencies when they start, because again, the New York hate is so goddamn strong, and I understand it. I understand it. Salute to DC. I love this town. I'm going to fly my flag. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yo, check it. Man, Al Capone got ran out of New York and went to Chicago and took the whole goddamn city over. They still talk about him to this day, but he got chased out of New York, bro, out of Brooklyn. They cut him on his face, told him, don't let us see you around here no more. He got the hell out of there. He couldn't make it in Brooklyn, but he went to Chicago and took the whole damn city over.
And he wasn't making no more money. He ain't making no money in New York.
He didn't need to. He was a giant in Chicago. Yo, the whole Hollywood industry. Jules got ran out of New York by Thomas Edison with the Nickelodeon projects, and they went to L.A. and set up the whole movie business. Yo, Bugsy Siegel started Las Vegas. Man, stop the New York hate, man. That's all I got to say. Y'all wouldn't have nothing without us.
New York y'all want to have control every motherfucking thing, bro.
I'm just giving you historical facts, bro.
Listen to this, though. I'm going to say some of the stuff you say, I'm going to top this. I'm going
to
agree with it.
Brother.
But let me say this, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
You started off saying that Brooklyn had 4 million motherfuckers in there, right?
Yeah, a lot.
You ain't touched none of the other boroughs yet, right? Y'all had a lot of motherfucking people that you could pay. Just like when you talk, like when we was locked up, we the big sports. So you know New York, we the Mecca basketball, right? So that's their thing, right?
No more.
Right.
No more.
So we name a motherfucker from Southeast, y'all name a motherfucker from Brooklyn. We name somebody from Northeast, y'all go all the way across the Harlem. You know what I'm saying?
Lot of people.
It's a lot of people, right?
It's a lot of people.
So so I think that a lot of y'all wins came because the numbers was just so.
Oh, absolutely.
And then y'all reaching different nationalities.
Oh, definitely.
We'll be saying black, y'all go Italian.
No argument for me there.
So that's what I'm saying. So that kind of little stock on that when it comes to that. When it comes to that right there, right?
Listen, what I found is that, yo, man, the thing that I appreciate the most about New York is the level of exposure that I got from all the different people. Right. You know what I mean? Right. I got to interact with Jews and you know, like when I was a kid, we would go to Delancey Street to go shopping for school, and yo, back then it was run by all Hasidic Jews. You know what I mean? Like they'd be in there with their little Russian mink hats and the curls coming down, and their little kids be working the cash register, and you get exposure to that. You go to Chinatown, like Chinatown in New York to me is the at least it was the best Chinatown, not because it's in New York, because I went to the Chinatown in San Francisco, which is supposed to be the original Chinatown, and it was really no comparison, right? Because of the concentration of people. And when you got all these people, all these West Indians, all these Italians, all these Albanians and Greeks and every
man, y'all got like shit. 20, 30, 40 different nationalities in that joint, man.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you don't come out of that joint with some kind of game, yo, man, shame on you. So yeah, absolutely, that's the difference. But what that did, though, see, it's 6 on one hand and half a dozen on the other. What that did was it made it really hard for black people to rise in New York, which is why so many people from New York, so many black people from New York live. I mean, they leave. They go out of town because the competition there and the obstacles, it's a competitive ass town, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna get no kind of money for real in New York like you can in other places. But you gotta take that knowledge that you got in New York and go somewhere else. In the streets, it's a little bit different, but again, I found that the police in New York, right? If you know how to get around them, it's almost like, yo, man, you could kind of do it with ease when you go to other places, like, cause the police up there, yo, they rough, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Out the park, niggas know me. Curtbone, little homie. All days, yeah.